So throughout the span of my very short lifetime, the very short time that I've been alive, I've just been a very determined person. And I would really put a lot of pressure on myself, and not in the way that I would achieve what I want. It would be pressure, but I end up not getting what I want because I'm very anxious. And in the process, I don't take care of my health. So all of these small factors end up to me not reaching the goal that I want. And I know you're wondering what I want. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. For the longest time, I've always been very disconnected from what I do, from my body. And that's why earlier on this year it took me so long. Actually, it didn't take me long. I didn't even notice I had an illness until it was triggered by a medication I had. And at that time, I didn't really think that, what I'm feeling in my body is really valid. When you're used to not listening to your body or not really being in touch with your reality or yourself, it's hard for you to get in touch with your health. Get what I'm trying to say? Anyway, so this year has been a major turning point. When I started it, I wanted to be better health. And I have an extreme case of gastritis. One of my goals was to heal that problem so that I can take an antacid as low as possible. That was the first one. But after I got sick twice. I got sick in April, the second week of April, and this was April, and then by the first week of May, I was relatively okay. Then by the end of June, I got sick again, and this time it was worse than what it was in April. Now in June it was different because I had an exam at that time and it was very stressful and I couldn't rest or take care of myself the way recovery needed. So not only was I neglecting myself, because of course I have exams, I'm not going to sleep 8 hours when I have exams, which some of the classes I had missed due to me being sick. It was a very interesting time because I would stay most of the hours up studying, and then because I had reverted my state back to how I was in April, me getting up, getting dressed, and then traveling to the exam venue would have already taken 50% of my energy. I got tired really fast, and this also affected my head. I can't imagine the amount of times I've been in the exam room. Oh, that's a cat. What? Anyway, I can't imagine the amount of times I've been in the exam room and I read a question and it's simple. It's a simple question. I know the answer, but there's a disconnect between me finding the words to write. So I know, you know the questions, you know the answers, and then there's this link of when you start actually writing, I can't write. Why? Because I am tired. My brain is tired and my body is wearing it down. Remember what I said? 50% of my energy is already taken away by the time I reach the exam room. Yeah. So my body is tired, and even thinking takes a lot of effort. You know how it's not something hard, but it's the fact that my body needs rest because, again, I'm ill and I didn't give it enough rest. So every little bit of energy that you would normally use when you're well cost you 10 times as much. Because I remember there was a time where I was really thinking, like I've even shortlisted down the points, but writing it feels so hard, and the amount of times spelling mistakes came, not because I didn't know, but because I'm just that tired. Like I've never felt so dumb and helpless because I'm sweating. Like I'm sweating, and sometimes I would even feel dizzy. So a lot of the times during the exam, I had to really pace, take a short breath, gaze into the distance for some time, and then continue writing the exam because it was that hard. Uh, and I couldn't quit. Oh my gosh, I'm ranting too much. I should have said, never mind. This is important. I couldn't take a leave and submit a letter for a supplementary exam because that takes energy as well. And when you're sick, you don't really even think that well. Again, it was affecting my cognitive function as well. Most of the time, even when I'm normal, I find doing things that require cognitive function tricky, especially in social situations. You don't get to be given a script or a correct answer in social situation because it can go either way or this way. There is no set prediction of how a social interaction can go. It's not like books or exam. They are set things. And even if it doesn't come the way you want it to, you will still be well equipped to twist it to answer the question. But anyway, yeah, cognitive function was already hard for me. So that time it made it really hard. Talking, what else? Talking, even my eyes would get really tired a lot. The illness I had, it was liver inflammation. This was after I had, man. After, no, this is a long story. But yeah, basically it wasn't due to alcohol or recreational drugs. It seems the doctors said that I probably had an issue with my liver. And then when I was taking antibiotics to cure my stomach infection, in that process, got my liver inflamed. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Now, yeah, what does this have in relevance? Now, I finished my exam on June 17th. I think it was. Oh. Cut one, cut two. Anyway, I finished my exam on Wednesday 17th, and I wanted to be home by 18th because it's by a private vehicle. It shouldn't take more than an hour if you're using private transport. And I wanted to use an Uber, but I felt really ill, so we ended up postponing it to the 19th. That was on Saturday, I think. No, I finished my exam on Thursday, not Friday. I was to come home on the 19th. So I came home on the 19th, after the 18th being really hard. I didn't know how bile looked. That was the day that, I was vomiting, and then I saw, oh, this is an interesting fluid. It's bile. I didn't know it was food poisoning at that time. I had a feeling, but yeah. So at that time, it wasn't really painful. I just was very tired, doing basic tasks were tired. From walking from my room to the bathroom was a 1 minute, 30-second walk. Maybe like 20 meters? No, not 20 meters. Wait, how long is a door? A door is 1 meter, right? 2 meters, I think. So 10 meters. The bathroom is 10 meters. Walking to the bathroom made me fucking sweat. I felt like I was gonna fall down. Anyway, so what was my point again? Yeah, that happened. When I came back home on Saturday morning, it was so much worse. I was in pain. I couldn't eat anything. Even going to the hospital seemed like a fever dream because how will I go when I don't have the energy? Walking 15 seconds to the bathroom feels like a death sentence, so I can't even do it. So I was like, let me rest, and then when I feel well enough, I can go and I get a little bit of energy. By Monday, that's when I started to feel improvement. But basically, Saturday and Sunday, it was so painful. And I remember being angry at myself because why did I put myself through this? And now in hindsight, there was really nothing I could do but push through. Because even if I said I was gonna turn out for the complete exam, I would need to submit a letter in the headquarters. I would need to go back to my hostel, pack my stuff, bring my stuff from my hostel to the gate. So yeah, but that really made me make about myself to never ever never what? Never put myself in a compromising situation where I feel the pain. Nobody else can understand you the way you do yourself. So I'm not going to put myself in a compromising situation. And that was the first stage. The second stage was death. 3 people died. First of them is my grandma. And before she died, that brief period, because we normally go and visit her, it's when you realize how truly lonely life could be, especially when we're not. I got to experience how they feel when we're not visiting. And essentially, life is lonely. She has 9 kids, but immediately they grow up, they leave, and they don't visit as often because they have their kids. The second death was by someone I know. It wasn't someone I know. It was a TikToker, right? No, it wasn't a TikTok. It was someone who had social media, and basically, I thought the last time I saw her was in February or January, and I thought it's because she decided to take a break from social media, only to go look at her page again. Because I always go once in a while and I see people in the comments writing RIP. I check her repost, and the last repost is her saying, when you're on your 5th drink of alcohol and all of the things you've been hiding come to you. I mean, you experience them and whatnot, having an emotional breakdown. That was the last video she reposted, and that was the last day she was alive. She died of low blood pressure, which I assume is tied to the alcohol. And that really got me thinking how sometimes you don't really need a distinct sign to see that someone is struggling. Because for me, the way I did was through food. And I was basically harming myself. Wow. Because I would eat bad food because I'm stressed, knowing very well this food will require me to take the medication. And even if you do take the medication, you will still be hit by the fatigue and the pain. So even if it's an antacid, it doesn't stop most of the symptoms. Maybe that's what damaged my liver in the first place. But yeah, the doctor suspected it to be hepatitis A or E. A is through food, E is through contaminated water. So anyway, yeah. And the reason why we don't know this is because when you go for a liver test, they don't test. They only test for the elements in the liver, the gamma, to check their levels, and they test type B because it's the most what? Like it needs medication. You need medication for type B. The other ones, they're not really medicated. Yeah, so what else was I gonna say? Especially for my condition, I just have to rest and sleep. And it sounds easy, but it's not easy when you're anxious or when you're in a situation of to get anxious. It sounds easy on paper. Because immediately after I wasn't sick anymore, when I got over, this was in June, I got food poisoning and liver inflammation. And this time it was worse than in April. And immediately I started feeling better. I started having insomnia. So I have insomnia. I need to rest. And no, just lying in your bed will not count as rest. I need to actually sleep. And it didn't help. So I would just be in this cycle of not feeling any better because I'm not resting. And any energy that can be used anywhere else ends up being used by my liver to heal. And that's why even taking baths became hectic because it regulates your temperature. And when you take a bath, of course, you're taking a bath with something that's a bit warm or sometimes colder than your body temperature. So it has to always regulate. And that's slight temperature regulation really cost me a lot. Anyway, what was my point? Yeah. So the second thing was the death of my grandpa. My grandma, my grandma. And, that I wouldn't really call her acquaintance, but it was someone I know from social media. The third death was by a catechist. If you're not familiar with it, when I was younger, we used to go to this church. Okay, my mom still goes. We don't go. And he was a catechist. Basically, when you baptize, is it baptize or confirmation? You're given lessons and you're taught prayers, and he's the one who facilitates that. And you know how he died? He was crossing the road. He didn't even make it to the other side. He was about to cross the road, and somebody just hit him. It was a hit and run. I know you're thinking hit and runs happen all the time. This is a rural area. The roads are not busy at all. I wouldn't consider the road busy. There is no traffic. There is never any traffic here. No matter what occasion, there is never any traffic. And it's a relatively remote area. Actually, this is the rural area. And he couldn't cross the road. Like someone just hit him and went. It was the same routine. He has been working in the church for like 20 years. So this is the last thing you would expect from someone who has devoted so much time and energy to a religious institution. But lo and behold, it just happened. Because you can't really say his death has meaning. This was someone else's mistake. It was called someone purely by someone else's mistake. You would expect someone like that to have a more peaceful death in their sleep because of their old age, but it was just really off. I don't even, yeah. those two things really made me come to the conclusion that, wait, is it two things? Oh, there's a third thing. This one is the most common, is that life is not easy and we all have to work until we die. But this one was more apparent. I experienced it more apparent this year, in the beginning of this year. Before, April, March, February has been really tough year financially. And you really get to see how low life can get. So those are the three things that made me be, I would say, less ambitious about things that I do. Not less ambitious, I'm just not going to take it as seriously, and I'm just gonna focus on doing small things that I can. I remember I asked this was a year ago in high school, and I was asking my best friend, like, what do you want to do with your life? And she was like, just normal stuff, work, maybe kids, family, and just like that. I used to think, like, you don't have any ambition other than that. But now I'm like, basically what I want to do is live a livable wage and have a basic normal job, be comfortable, eat, sleep, and have a peace of mind. Like, that's it for now. Like, I'm very comfortable in not having this big ambition that I have to chase, because to some extent it is meaningless. And now I see why people have kids, to give their life meaning, or to make them feel like life has meaning. Maybe it does have meaning, right? But the meaning is not that deep. I am slowly accepting and living with the realities of life as it is, without any glamorizing, and that's what made me come to this conclusion. Also because, when I was younger, I used to really put a lot of pressure on myself. That's when I learned you can really put pressure on yourself and be determined and not reach your goal. Your goal can still be unreachable. Because I used to set really high targets for myself academically but not reach them. And why am I not doing that? Because I'm anxious. My mind is always foggy because I'm anxious again. And this state of being anxious really doesn't help when it comes to me managing my habits that include eating. Come to think of it, I don't think ever since I was I don't think ever since I was 9 I've had an okay state of mind or an okay body. No. An okay state of mind ever since I was 9. But since I was 13, I don't think I've ever been in a healthy body and not have any health issues, especially with the gastritis, which I would say is heavily habitual. There's ways to manage it, but again, my eating habits would be influenced by how I handle my emotions. And I would eat my emotions away. Eat them in. Yeah. So right now I'm on holiday. I'm opening school in a few weeks, maybe 3 weeks time. I was scared, but I'm gonna be easy on myself, It's okay. Life doesn't really have that much meaning, so I'm gonna be easy on myself and be be okay taking things slow. Like, I'm okay being a nobody. I'm okay with my life ending as it is. Like, I'm not satisfied with it, but I have accepted it. Yeah. I've accepted it as it is. And right now, what I'm trying to do is, since I'm still resting and taking care of myself, my normal day-to-day activity involves waking up, cooking, cleaning, doing some few body exercises because my stamina is very low. My stamina is very low and I want to fix it. I don't think I've been active ever since last year. Like, not active in terms of walking, in terms of moving your body, exercise. I don't want to like gain, but I just want to increase my stamina for now and eat healthy. Although that's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. Yeah. Bus. Yeah, my cat's still here. Not here. Eh? Yeah. Yeah. That's how life is. And hopefully, yeah. Goodbye.